Hello again, and welcome back to Illegally Cited. This is Jesse here, and I am back for another channel update video, event video, announcements, events, all kinds of crazy stuff. Because, yeah, as September has started, we are not quite midway through September, but man, there is just tons and tons of stuff happening so far. So, this is probably going to be the biggest channel update of the month. I did one toward the beginning of the month that was just covered a few odds and ends, but this is probably going to be the big one, the long video. So strap in and grab a snack, grab something to drink. Um, we're going to go through some stuff here today. So before I go any further, this being the big update video for the month, I again just want to thank everybody for supporting the channel, supporting my work, whether it's the occasional stream here and there, the channel, social media, just, the accessibility work that I do. Much appreciated. Um, if you are new to the channel, I do upload videos regularly and I unlock videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday. Although, probably in the next couple of weeks here, we're going to have quite a few bonus videos simply because there are just an obscene amount of games and videos and topics that I want to release. And even with Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday, even with 3 times a week, there are things I want to get out on a more timely fashion, either because I've gotten a review code for something or because, there's some awesome accessibility stuff happening, announcements I want to talk about, events I want to talk about, and yeah, so lots to look forward to. Stay tuned to the channel. Everything is divided into playlists, so we have things for low vision spotlight videos. Those are games you can play if you have some usable vision. PC and iOS and console accessible game spotlights. These playlists are more for games that you can play if you have no usable vision whatsoever. So if you are totally blind, they may be self-voicing, they may be screen reader accessible, that kind of a thing. But I also cover, other nerdy stuff like VR accessibility, assistive technology, my new series earlier this year, Growing Up Illegally Cited. I still would love people to check that out more. Really happy with how that turned out. Like I said, VR stuff, VR apps and games or experiences in games, Geek Loot Spotlight, some cool collectibles and special editions of things I've acquired over the years, and a few things recently. Just go check out the playlist. There's all kinds of stuff. I cover the Toby Accessibility Doom mod, and lots of other Doom content because there's always new stuff coming out for Doom. It is my favorite game ever, and like I said, it's just there's still people making content for it today, and it's amazing. Speaking of the Toby Accessibility mod, I can't really say much more yet, but stay tuned because we're probably going to be getting some more uh, brand new, not just a new version of the Toby Accessibility mod, but new a whole new level, like a whole new level campaign. Like we got, I forget how many levels are in there, but a whole new um, accessible campaign for the Toby Accessibility mods. So that is something I'm also going to cover here, hopefully in the near future. But yeah, thank you again for everybody supporting the channel. I did just look now out of curiosity, and we did hit 3,800 subscribers. I believe it was 3,802. So hey, we're inching up there, not too bad. Um, One thing I would say is if you have like an interest in some of the low vision spotlight games, just hearing what the game is like and whatever. I know those videos don't do near as well as the iOS accessible games, the PC accessible games, or PS5, PS4, Xbox games, the accessible spotlight videos, and I get that. Um, but on average, like I know there's some stuff I'm trying to do right now where if the view count, can get like over 100 or 200 views instead of, like the low vision spotlight videos, generally don't do near as well. But yeah, I mean, so if you have any interest in those games, give those a shot. And like I said, I totally get it because it is frustrating watching games that you know that you can't play. Trust me, there are even games with me being low vision that I can't play or that I really would struggle to play, so I just don't. But yeah, like I said, lots of great stuff that just happened on the channel. We've got um, we've got some Doom stuff. We've got Quake RTX. We've got some new Turtles DLC. A fun little roguelite game that came out of nowhere for me and really surprised the hell out of me. Crab Champions, man, that's a low vision game that I just picked up on a whim because it was deeply on sale and it looked really crazy and it's fun. So definitely want to get back to that at some point. I did just receive a review code for Dave the Diver, so I covered that recent video. But yeah, check out the recent videos and the playlists and whatnot. So coming up, I think I'm going to release this video probably actually later today as a bonus video, and this is Thursday, and I might even have a bonus video tomorrow. Because I did receive another review code for an indie game. It's called Axolotl. I covered it, or I tweeted about it. I reposted a tweet earlier this afternoon, because the game had literally just come out, and I did receive a Steam review key for it. So I want to get a low vision spotlight video for that up, on a timely fashion, since I did get a review copy. And hopefully Saturday or Monday, depending on how well things go and how busy I am and how well the recording works and everything, I do have access to the MK1, Mortal Kombat 1. It is on my computer right now. I mean, literally, I can go back to Steam. Let me go back here. There's my axolotl thing that I just recorded a video for, but MK11, boom, I could hit play right now, and oh god, I want to. But we're not going to do that right now. So it is installed, and I'm going to do a video for it. So hopefully, again, that's something that a lot of people are excited for, myself included. So I'm hoping, the reason that I want to get this axolotl video out probably tomorrow is, again, I want to do that in a timely fashion, but Saturday or Monday, depending. I know a lot of people want to know about Mortal Kombat 1 and its accessibility, as do I. So hopefully look forward to that, if all things go well, very soon. I did get a couple of requests from people who, not just recently, but like periodically, fairly regularly, I get requests from people about, how do blind people, how do low vision people use a cell phone or smartphone, iPhone? Is it practical for somebody with low vision? How would somebody who is low vision even use an iPhone, since it's just all flat glass? Because, there are still people even who do not have a smartphone. I know I find it hard to believe too, because I'm hopelessly addicted and my iPhone is tethered to me pretty much all day. But I mean, it's such a great accessibility tool that, like I said, I mean, just accessibility wise and independence wise, and just like, for so many daily life reasons, and I mean, yes, like everybody who doesn't have a disability is likely addicted to their smartphone for some reasons, but just for all the things that all the avenues that it can open up for someone with a disability, and all the accessibility features and apps and things. So I have a video coming out. I did a couple of videos over the last few years about like iOS apps for independence And this is kind of an updated version of that, but I took it on a little bit of a twist to where I said, let's make this a little bit more task based and like, why would I want a smartphone? What apps would I want to use? How would I make use of them? So that video is, I'm hoping if I can get the other, like Mortal Kombat and Axolotl, if I can get those to come out this weekend, maybe that'll be a Monday video. I don't know. And then, like I said, we just have floods and floods of games. I've got some demos downloaded through Steam that I still want to check out. And like I said, they're not going to stop until like November, even beginning of December. So there's just going to be so much stuff. So much stuff. I do have one more game that I'm trying to review, that I'm trying to do either a low vision spotlight or an accessible game spotlight for. I have a feeling it's going to be only low vision because I don't think this is going to be a game that blind players are going to be able to play. But I did get a review key for the PC version of the Crew. Oh God, what do they call it? Not Motorstorm. Um, and then I thought Motorhead. I just went stupid. But basically, the new Crew game that's coming out. I can't remember the name of the stupid subtitle. Um, but I ended up getting a key for it through the Ubisoft Connect app, which is kind of their desktop game client a la Steam or the Epic Game Store. However, I have not been able to play the game yet because I'm having a technical issue that I'm hoping to get resolved soon so I can play it and I can do a video. There's this little thing, like, I'm sure the game would run fine, but apparently after you install it, there's, a lot of games come with either DRM crap or anti-cheat software garbage. And apparently this one comes with this, what is it called, Battle Eye or something? I guess a lot of games have it. I did a Google search for it the other day. And this Battle Eye thing is like this anti-cheat software nonsense that it says it's trying to like install a version of it for the Crew, but it won't install because it says there's some driver that is incompatible. And it wants me to disable some like hardcore like hardware secure. I can't even remember what it's called, but I looked it up again. I looked that up too, and it's some sort of like kernel level hardware security thing. It's like, oh, you can disable it and then reboot your computer and it should work. I'm like, no, you know what? A game and your stupid anti-cheat software, I don't care what it is, you shouldn't need deep kernel level access. And I'm not going to compromise my system security. I'm not going to compromise my computer security just to play a game because I don't even know fully what this hardware security layer deep within the Windows kernel even fully does. So I'm not going to start disabling security features and things going really haywire just to play a game. So I've contacted support. Hopefully they get back to me. Hopefully there's a patch soon or something that'll make it work. I don't know if it's like a Windows 11 thing that there's issues with, but like I said, I am likely not going to disable security. So until or unless there's a workaround or I can get past this issue, I won't be reviewing that game. I won't be covering that game on my channel. I would love to, and I intend to, but hopefully that gets resolved. And again, thank you to Ubisoft for reaching out and for offering a review key. I do definitely appreciate it. But like I said, that being said, I'm not going to, especially with all the crazy stuff that can happen to your computer these days. And as good as Windows has actually gotten, like we don't really get the horrible viruses near as often and malware that we used to get because Windows has kind of, locked itself down a little bit more. So I'm really not wanting to disable hardware level kernel security in order to do that. So, hopefully stay tuned. Hopefully Motorfest, that's what it's called, I think, the Crew Motorfest. So, I mean, it's kind of like an open world Forza Horizon kind of a game, is what it is. So, it's supposed to have some decent level accessibility there, which I do want to check out. So, hopefully we get this resolved. And yeah, anyway. So that's kind of some of the stuff that's up on, coming up on the channel. Like I said, we've got Mortal Kombat 11 or Mortal Kombat 1. Um, I'm sure there's another game or two this month. Oh, we just got the Horizon Chase 2 just came out on Epic. I definitely want to check that out. I really enjoyed the first one. We have Forza Motorsport coming out next month. We saw some more accessibility stuff on that recently. I'm absolutely going to be covering that. Of course, we got RoboCop and Alan Wake, and like I said, I can't even name them all. I'm not even going to try. I'm not even going to bother. And there's still stuff on my backlog that I haven't even done. So again, loads of stuff on the channel coming up. Anyway, that is a channel update. So I kind of want to breeze through a few other topics here. Get the negative out of the way first because I'm not going to touch too much on it, but I'm very curious to see what happens or where this goes. Earlier this week, I guess, Unity this is the Unity game engine. So, your games there are some proprietary or some open source engines for some things. But a lot of your game companies are going to use like Unreal Engine or Unity to make their games. And apparently earlier this week, they released some boneheaded thing. And I don't even think anyone's super clear on how this is going to work or whatever. But as of like January 1st next year, they say that they're doing something where, as a developer, if you reach a certain number of sales or something, they're basically going to be charging the developers per like on an install level basis. So for every install, it's like, what is it, 20 cents or something? They say, I don't remember what the thing was, but like, so let's say you get, you make 1 million sales or 2 million or 10 million, whatever. So then if you get over a threshold, and like I said, I'm not going to go into all the details, but there's plenty of other coverage about this. But it is really pissed off the game developer community, and understandably, because there's some weird stuff in there. Like if you let's say I download a game and I play it, that counts as an install. Well, then I uninstall it because I need this space, and then 6 months later, I'm like, I want to play that again. So I install it. Well, that will count, even if it's on the same computer or the same machine or same console, apparently that counts as another install. So like the developer is just getting shellacked. And especially with the way that people do like review bombing on Steam or consoles or whatnot, like I can totally see some people just like constantly installing and uninstalling a game just to rack up the number of installs to punish a developer. There's just a lot of ways I can see this going wrong. And, again, for like especially your really indie teams where it's like 1 or 2 man crews or even like a half a dozen people, like who knows if your game with all the traffic that all these storefronts get, who knows how well your game is going to do. But like in a way, you're almost being punished for if your game does really well. If you don't have a big enough studio to really get through that, I'm really wondering how that's going to go. So that's all I'm really going to say about it, other than I know there's been a lot of stuff on social media lately, YouTube, Twitter, X, whatnot, developers wanting to leave Unity, and because they just can't be trusted, even if they do reverse on this announcement, and they say, okay, we take it back, we're not going to do that, or whatever. I guess people haven't really been happy with Unity in some ways for a while, and this is definitely one of the major straws, shall we say, that broke the camel's back. And so, like I said, I'm curious. Like I want a definitive. I'm gonna watch myself for like a news article or a podcast or something that breaks this down, not just hearsay. I don't want to just regurgitate what people are saying because I'm hearing several different things, but I want to hear like how is this going to affect um, how is this going to affect game developers in general? Um, and what is the actual truth? We need, really, really clear cut communication from Unity because, yeah, I mean, I just see it constantly on Twitter. Developers are. I've never seen so many developers it's ironic. It's called Unity, and I've never seen so many developers unified on something like this. I mean, everyone is, like I said, everybody is just pissed. And I don't want everything to go to Unreal either because we need just like, we need competition. If everything goes to Unreal, well, then they can slack off because they know that, oh, well, everyone has to go here, so yeah, whatever. But it's good to have, these different engines that people can use, and having competition out there. Each one has to try to, better the other, so people actually have to try for quality. We've seen that in other fields. I mean, hell, look at the assistive technology field. Freedom Scientific, anyone? Excuse me. Um, but, or Vespero. I mean, if we can't beat them, we will buy them. Boy, that sounds like Vespero Freedom Scientific, all right. Oh, that sounds like EA, all right. We can't beat them, buy them. Anyway, that out of the way, I will briefly touch on the Apple event that happened yesterday because I know we got a lot of iPhone, iPad, iOS users and Mac users and stuff watch this. Honestly, there really wasn't a lot. I mean, that's the thing is there's so many leaks lately, and people are already speculating about the iPhone that's going to launch in 2084. It's like, who cares, man? Just, I, I mean, yes, I'm exaggerating, of course, but it's like I've never seen, people will speculate about Google or Microsoft or Amazon or whatever, but there's just something about Apple that's like, we must know what's going to happen 13 years from now. And I think in 2035, they're going to have this thing. And it's like, gee, just chill out, guys. Um, so by the time we had the event, we pretty much knew the vast majority of things that this iPhone 15 series was going to be, and it's basically the same as before. You've got your iPhone 15, your 15 Plus, that's your kind of lower end, and 6.1, 6.7 inch screens. You've got your iPhone Pro and Pro Max, and apparently one thing that I didn't realize, apparently on the Pro Max it is $100 more expensive, but with that $100, they're actually giving the base model starting at 256 instead of 128 gigabytes of storage. So you're paying more, but your base level gets a little bit more storage. But your iPhone 15 and 15 Plus are going to basically start at the same prices as the 14 did last year. So mostly not bad. I mean, of course, the big thing is you got your USB-C coming to all models. But again, here's the thing that's so confusing. Not just with Apple, but like, USB-C was supposed to be this thing that was supposed to make things easier. You plug it in, it's reversible. That part of it I love. You don't have to put it in, you're not trying to put it in backwards, or you can just, take the cord and plug it in, whatever. But there's so many variations on USB-C, both in charging and functionality. Like, oh, well, this cable can only charge at this speed, but then this cable can charge at this speed. It's much faster. But then there's an even faster cable. And then on top of that, you have the spec of like, oh, well, this one has Thunderbolt capability, but this one doesn't, and this one can do video transfer, or I can hook this up to a USB-C monitor, or I can do whatever throughput, but this other cable, it's not spec'd for that, so it won't be able to have these features, and it's just, uh, I don't know, it's just really frustrating because I just want to buy like a good cable and know that I can buy a USB-C cable and it can charge things as fast as I could possibly can, or as fast as I want, and that it could transfer at the speeds um, as fast as it can, and that it has all the functionality, like, oh, if I can hook it up to a screen, or can I hook it up to a peripheral and it'll support that peripheral, or it won't blow up my switch if I plug it in to charge my switch, or it's maddening that it's gotten so confusing because I don't even understand it at this point because there's so many different specs for USB-C alone. Um, because I know that they were saying there was something about like the cable that you get in the iPhone 15 boxes are going to only be at USB 2 spec. So it'll charge, but it like you can't transfer stuff really fast. But then I think the Pro models you might get a little better cable, or you have to buy a separate cable if you want to charge faster or transfer data faster. I don't even get it anymore. It's dumb. Um, but like all of your phones, you've got, of course, you got a better processor, you've got better GPUs on them, you've got your different levels of storage, your 128, 256, blah blah blah. Um, and of course your cameras. I mean, they brag about their cameras. I guess there's some you can zoom in further now, which again might be good for magnifier. If you get but those are only on the Pro, and then like the Pro Max have those extra um, telephoto lenses or something where you can zoom in even further. But I mean, honestly, the phones themselves were not that exciting. I mean, it was just, yeah, it's a minor spec bump. You get USB-C and the camera. I mean, those are basically the three things. Now they do have I think it's only on the Pro models where you can, instead of having the normal lock switch that you've had on an iPhone up to this point, they basically took what they did for the Apple Watch Ultra last year, and they took it and they made a context sensitive button so you can hold it to turn your mute on and off, but then you can also set different shortcuts to it. So like I could make it open the camera or the magnifier app, or I could make it do like a Siri shortcut or something. Any number of different types of customization. So it's kind of like a quick button, which I admit would be kind of handy. But like I said, I have an iPhone 13 Pro Max. It still runs pretty well. And, even from the iPhone 14 Pro Max that I got through work earlier this year, um, I, I mean, yes, there are things about USB-C that would be kind of nice, but otherwise, like, I don't know. I mean, I highly doubt I'm going to upgrade my phone this year. I think I'm going to give it one more year, see what they do, and then it'll just be another generation forward. Um, and we'll leave it at that. Like I said, I don't think I am going to upgrade my phone this year. It's slightly tempting, but 95% I'm like, nah, I can wait. They did talk about, which is really funny because on the Mac they're like, gaming? What's gaming on a Mac? I mean, they've talked a little bit about it, but um, the iPhone, there's a bunch of games, like console level games, that are going to be coming to iOS later this year or early next year. What was it, like Death Stranding? I think some of the Resident Evil, like Resident Evil Village, or I think it was. There's like a good 4, 5, 6 games. And again, it is impressive that you can run something like a console level port on something you can hold in your hand. But again, you know, you're going to have to find some sort of you can, I mean, it supports all the modern controllers. So if you have an Xbox or PlayStation controller, you can pair that with your phone. But then you have to figure out like, okay, I need some sort of a weird like clamp thingy so I can hold my phone with my controller. And I don't know. It's just it's not. And like for me, I'm not super interested because well, then I'm playing these really, it's hard enough to kind of see some of the detail on a big TV or computer monitor. But then trying to see that detail on a tiny phone, even on a Pro Max, maybe not so much. But yeah, I mean, if you're into that, sure, cool, that's whatever. And then the other thing they really touched on is the Apple Watch, and we're going to have the Series 9, and we're going to have the Series 9 Ultra. And again, there really wasn't a whole lot new with these either. It's basically a spec bump. The one new thing that I thought was kind of neat and would be kind of curious to try, but I think it's only available in the Series 9, is they have this, I can't even remember what they called it now, but it's like a pinch. Like you're not even touching the phone. Like let's say you have something else in your other hand, you're carrying something or whatever. You've got a cane, you've got a guide dog. Your watch hand, you can kind of do like a double pinch gesture with your index finger and your thumb. So you can go kind of go bing, bing, and then it'll do the primary action of whatever you're on. So like, let's say you get a phone call, it'll be like a pick up or hang up. Or, maybe if you're in a music thing, you can do the little double pinch and it'll play pause, um, stopping a timer or something like that. So it is kind of a neat thing, and I could see where that could be useful, especially if somebody has like a mobility impairment or something, or like I said, blind travelers. You often have a guide dog or a cane, and so being able to just do something really quick with your, let's say you have a Bluetooth headset on even, and you want to pause your media or you want to pick up or hang up a call. I mean, yeah, I can see that being kind of neat. Um, But I mean, aside from that, they talked a little bit about health, and they talked a little bit about. I mean, even the Ultra, I can't even remember. There was some like AAA thing that they were talking about. So, um, like basically remote roadside assistance. AAA users in the U.S. are going to be able to take advantage of that with their watch. And throughout the whole presentation, their other big thing was they were focused on envi- uh, you know, being more environmentally friendly. And in between the watch and the phone, they did this really, really cheesy sketch, shall we say, or skit, where they had like somebody representing Mother Nature, and she's like, "Oh, it was just weird. I mean, it was kind of funny, but in a really, really cheesy way." And it didn't really fit with the rest of the presentation. It just really kind of bogged things down. I think you could kind of tell that they didn't have a whole heck of a lot they wanted to announce this year. So like, let's just make a dumb skit about Mother Nature. But it's like this Mother Nature goes to the meeting room, and you've got Tim Cook there, you've got all these other staff members there, and she's talking about, well, what have you been doing for this? You saying you're carbon neutral, and then they're talking about all the ways that they're. I mean, it's a good thing that they're doing. They're definitely being more environmentally friendly. I get that. Um, but it was just weird. I'm sure you can look it up if you want to watch it. It was like at least like 5 minutes long. Um, that was essentially the Apple event. They very, very briefly mentioned a couple sentences about um, their VR headset thingy that's coming out next year, but they really didn't show anything. It was really the phone and the watch, and I would say largely, other than a few minor tweaks or enhancements, it's just a spec bump. So if you have an older device, it may well be worth the upgrade, but I would say if you have an iPhone 13 or newer, or if you have like an Apple Watch, maybe Series 6 or 7 or newer, I'd wait. I would probably wait until next year unless you really, really, really want to have USB-C. So that is the Apple event. And then we get into today, because as of yesterday, both Sony, well, first Nintendo did, and then Sony announced, hey, we're going to have we have a Nintendo Direct today, and then Sony couldn't be left out, and they said, hey, we're going to have a State of Play today. So we're going to run through some of the announcements real quick here. There are, like I said, just some of the stuff that's coming out either this year, this fall, this winter, next year. There's a lot of stuff, and you can kind of tell that the Switch is definitely winding down. We're probably going to get a new system sometime mid to late next year, maybe. I mean, it's been out since 2017, and even when it came out, it was kind of underpowered. So it is understandable, but it's surprising how well that it has been supported, and people love it. So I'm going to run through the games real quick, just say a quick word about them. Mario vs. Donkey Kong was their first announcement, and that is cool because I remember playing this on the Game Boy Advance. I used the Game Boy Player. That was the attachment that let you play Game Boy Advance games on your GameCube on your TV. I got really, really far in that game. It's kind of this 2D puzzle platformer. Where you have these mini Mario toys, and like Donkey Kong takes all these toys, and you're Mario, and you have to. It's kind of like this Lemmings concept, and it's really fun actually. I got sucked into it, so I wouldn't mind playing that on the Switch. That looks pretty cool. The new Prince of Persia game coming out in January. That it's a 2D side-scrolling Prince of Persia game. It actually looks really good. I'm probably going to pick that up on another platform though, PC probably. But that looks, kind of like a Metroidvania action-y type of thing. But yeah, Prince of Persia. I can't remember the subtitle of it, but it looks really cool. Horizon Chase 2. It's been on. I think Apple Arcade for a long time, but I just didn't want to play it with touch controls. And so I was sort of waiting for it to come to console or PC. I did actually just pick it up on the Epic Game Store this afternoon, so I'll be taking a look at that here, hopefully on a video fairly in the near future. But if it's really good, I might pick it up on the Switch too. But then, unless it comes to the Steam eventually, so I can play it on my Steam Deck, because that would be a game that I could see playing in portable form. Just a fun, classic arcade-style racer, which I've been saying on social media lately, we need more of those. Everything is all simulation-based now, or close to being simulation. Even, the Forza games, Gran Turismo, but we don't. In the N64, Dreamcast, even PS2 era, we had arcade racing games galore, and we really don't anymore. And so we need more. Burnout 3. Burnout 3. Say it with me. Super Crazy Rhythm Castle. I don't know. It's a Konami thing. The footage of it looked like it might be kind of hard to see. So I'm going to have to really see more game footage before I can even determine whether it would be something I would want to play. Because something like that could be really fun, but it also could be very difficult visually to see. Mario RPG, that's coming in October. We already knew about that. Apparently they have some new features where you can do like co-op attacks if you do successful button presses, timing presses for when you do regular attacks. So they are spicing it up, not just graphically, but gameplay-wise a little bit. Trace Memory and some other, it's like some series, I think that was on the DS or something. Kind of a JRPG, I think. Not super interested. That's really not my jam, so I really don't know a whole lot about it. Princess Peach Showtime. Remember they teased in an earlier direct where it was like this Princess Peach game, but they didn't title it. Well, now it's called Princess Peach Showtime. It's bizarre, but it sounds oddly interesting. So there's like different events. It's like, there's one that was like a play. There's one where she gets these different outfits to save these different types of events. So like one will be like there was one where she was like a swordsman. There was another one where she was like a samurai. There was one that was like a dessert themed thing. And like she has these different, there's one where she was a detective. Um, and it was just, I don't know exactly how it's going to play or what like the level structure or like how it's all going to work, but it looks kind of interesting and it's very unique. I'll give it that. Emerald, Saga Emerald Beyond. I guess these Saga games, again, another JRPG type of thing. I know nothing about the Saga games, so I really can't speak to anything. Again, if you're into JRPGs and if you can see well enough, the Switch is definitely the system for you because there's a buttload of them out there these days. Tomb Raider 1 through 3 remastered. I have to imagine this is coming to other platforms as well, but they announced it here first for the Nintendo Switch, and I think that's coming out like next year sometime. So Tomb Raider 3, and they're going to have like you can go between the original graphics and some remastered graphics, so it's kind of got that thing going on. I don't know, I always found I tried to play the original Tomb Raider games a little bit on the PlayStation or on the PC, and they just felt so clunky to me. I mean, they were neat ideas, but I was just horrible at them. So we'll see what it is. Detective Pikachu 2, that's another thing. Again, people who are interested in that already know what it is. Trombone Champ. I covered this on the PC last year. Really zany, really goofy and fun. Kind of a dumb but great rhythm game. It is now on the Switch, and it also has like gyro controls and all kinds of crazy nonsense, like IR control, or so you can move your Joy-Con to control the pitch. I can see that just being bananas, and that's out today, so people can already pick that up today. Oddly, Trombone Champ is kind of great in a really weird way. Battle Crush, this is it's like a free to play thing that's coming out, but it kind of has like a little bit of like a Power Stone sort of a thing. I don't know if exactly that's what it is, but it's kind of got this sort of isometric view to it. I don't know if you can do solo, but it looked like there were teams and stuff. But it's kind of this three like again, like I said, kind of like a Power Stone esque sort of fighter thing. War Tales, I think this was, I don't remember what that was. I think it was some sort of JRPG or strategy game or something. Again, I'm not too sure. Contra Operation Galuga. I don't know if this is like a remake of the first, like kind of like a Bionic Commando rearmed. But I saw elements of like the original game in there, but it's like totally, it's not like 8-bit or anything. It's totally, redone in like a modern art style. And Way Forward is behind it. So Way Forward, if you trust anyone to bring back classic franchises, Way Forward has done fantastic work in the past. So I'm pretty confident this one should be pretty good. And that's coming out, I forget, sometime next year. Unicorn Overlord, it's like a kingdom building thing. I think there's like battles and again, it's not something that I'm super interested in, but it's more your strategy and your empire building and such. Luigi's Mansion 2 HD, that is a thing that's coming out, I believe, next year. Again, I think that was what was it? Because Luigi's Mansion was on the GameCube. I think 2 was on the DS, and then 3 was 3. I don't remember how they were. But I think we're getting a remake of the original as well. Wasn't that announced like a while back? So we're getting at least 1 or 2 Luigi's Mansion games coming out here in the future. They did a session on the Nintendo Museum. Basically, they're opening some. I would love to see it, but next year in Japan, they're doing some new Nintendo Museum, kind of like how they did the Nintendo theme park in Japan and then North America. Kind of curious to see what that's going to be. Hopefully, there'll be some virtual video tours of it from people when it opens up next year. Some Amiibo stuff, basically some Link and Zelda ones, and then there was something from Smash Brothers, and so those are coming out next year. F-Zero 99. Now, I love the idea of this. My problem with all these games, Mario 99, Tetris 99, now F-Zero 99, they're taking the original like 16-bit F-Zero, Super Nintendo F-Zero, and they are making it like this just madness. Like just imagine 99 players on an F-Zero track. It looks insane. My main problem with these though, as cool as they are, Nintendo, like the Mario one, they took it away. It was only a limited time thing, and like as long as your online, as long as the Switch is supported, why would you take that down? You know, I played both the Tetris 99 and some Mario 99. I will try the F-Zero 99 and probably get wrecked something fierce. But I mean, yeah, I just wish they wouldn't take these down. That's the main thing. Is like, oh well, maybe we'll be able to play it for like 6 months or maybe a year, but then who knows if they'll take this away too. Bandle Tale? I don't remember what the heck that was. I don't remember. Probably some RPG strategy thing again. There's quite a few of those. I honestly don't remember what that title was. Song of Nunu? I have no idea. Some kind of exploration thing. It's not like a JRPG, but I don't know. It's not really Animal Crossing, but I don't know what the heck it is. It's something kind of weird, something unique, but I don't know if it would really be my jam. But it was that was one title that they announced. WarioWare Move It. Potentially, I'm interested in this, but honestly, some of the new WarioWare games have not clicked with me near as much, just because the levels, like the mini games, are almost hard to kind of for me to tell super quickly. Especially, you have different like stances or different like ways that you're going to use the Joy Cons and such. I mean, I know it's supposed to be chaotic and everything, but sometimes it's just kind of hard to either see or figure out what I'm supposed to do really quickly. So we'll see. I mean, potentially I'm very interested, but the way that they're almost talking about it, it almost looks like WarioWare for the Wii, and that one was kind of interesting. I still say the original and Twisted are still my favorite of that series. Eastward Octopia. That seems to be like another sort of Harvest Moon, Stardew Valley type of game. So I wondered how many of those we were going to get this time, because usually a Nintendo Direct has at least a few of those, and there was one. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. It seems like it could be okay, but yeah, Eastward Octopia. Wargroove 2. I don't even remember what Wargroove was. The name sounds familiar, and I vaguely remember watching that trailer today, but I can't even remember what Wargroove is. So those who do, hopefully you're excited. Dave the Diver is coming to Nintendo Switch. Well, I did the video just literally yesterday for that video for the PC, so that is also coming to the Switch. Mario Kart 8 DLC. They're finally wrapping up their kind of season pass thingy that you could get. So, God, there's like 96 tracks in Mario Kart 8. I'm very, very curious to see how they're going to do another Mario Kart for whatever the Switch successor is, because again, how do you top that? Both like Mario Kart and Smash Brothers, like you put so much content in there that like starting from square one again just seems like a step backward at this point. So yeah, more Mario Kart stuff. You got new Among Us DLC. That's one I really haven't played. And then they ended with Paper Mario 1000 Year Door. That was a GameCube game that is also coming to the Nintendo Switch next year. They didn't give a date, they said 2024. And that's pretty cool. I know out of the Paper Mario games, I know like that is the favorite of a lot of people. My friend and former roommate had it. He really liked it. Um, again, visually it depends. Sometimes some of the stuff is kind of hard to see, and there's a lot of, it's an RPG, of course, so it's a lot of text dialogue. They do have, well, they use gibberish. I'll just say it. They use gibberish speech, and you all know, I'm not going to dive into it, but you all know how I feel about gibberish nonsense speech. I wish that it were spoken. Like especially if you're doing a remaster, I wish that they could somehow just choose to add voice acting for the characters, but they're not. So yeah, I mean, overall, the Nintendo Direct there was a lot there. I'm definitely interested in a few titles there, and I'm kind of curious about a few more. But you can tell the Switch is kind of winding down because there's a lot of remasters, there's a lot of bringing old stuff back and collections back. Um, Still don't have a Wind Waker HD yet. Grr. But yeah, there you go. And finally, to wrap up, let's talk a little bit about Sony. This won't take near as long because there weren't near as many titles. So Sony, baby steps. It's a weird like third-person traversal game is really the way I could put it. Where you're this guy, and I think because the controls are meant to be really awkward, like even like walking up a hill can be really weird. Um, and it's actually seems to be like either M rated or T rated because they were dropping like F bombs and there was some spoken dialogue by the character and someone he found, and it was really bizarre. I really don't know what to make of that game, but I'm genuinely curious. Roblox is coming to the PS4, PS5. Yippee. I really have no interest in Roblox. It's like it's kind of the new Minecraft for little kids. Like every little kid seems to be in Roblox for some reason, into them for some reason. Ghostbusters Rise of the Ghost Lord. This is a PSVR game, it looks like. They announced it a while ago, but they showed some gameplay footage, and it looks neat. I don't know if you can play alone, but like you can play, it looks like up to 4 players. Um, like I said, it looks like it could be neat, but again, being in VR, are there aspects of the game that would be hard to see? Probably. So I don't know. I mean, maybe I'll be able to watch a video of it someday. Resident Evil 4 VR, we knew that was going to be a thing. They showed a little bit of footage of that. I mean, again, it looks really cool. But again, for me, shooting, if I don't have a crosshair, shooting in first person is really tough for me in VR, as I've shown on the channel. Um, and then seeing the inventory and the puzzles, that's going to be another challenge. So in theory, it sounds really like if I could see it well, Resident Evil, both just Resident Evil 7, Resident Evil 4, whatever in VR. It all sounds really, really cool, and I would love to experience it that way, but just my vision kind of won't let me. We get Resident Evil 4, some kind of, I didn't get to see what it was called, but like there's some kind of Ada Wong DLC. That's going to be coming soon. They showed some more footage of the Avatar game that's coming December 7th. And it looks interesting. It looks pretty good. The only thing with like, especially being an open world game and being like, jungles or like a lot of plants and trees and forests and that type of environment, those were some of the hardest for me to see, especially if I'm like in combat or trying to find some little item in the world. If I'm in a city environment where I have walls and floors and, or even like outside, I've got sidewalks and buildings and whatnot, that's one thing, but like all the trees and foliage and stuff like that, those can be really tough environments for me to see. So I believe that's a Ubisoft gig, and so there is a prayer that there will be some accessibility in that game, and let's hope so, because it would be one that I would be curious to try. Ghost Runner 2, I tried the original Ghost Runner and I love the idea of it, but I was absolutely horrible at it. It's like this crazy first person neon cyberpunk, like it's kind of a first person shooter, but there's a lot of focus on your like traversal, wall running and acrobatics and stuff like that. It looks really cool, but I think I'd be really bad at it because I was not very good at the first one. And then they showed a few of the iterations of the PS5. Of course, you've got the Spider-Man 2 theme system that looks kind of neat. They showed the original one that I have, and then there's one with a blue skin on it, and then the blue DualSense controller. I kind of dig the blue one, honestly. Like that looks kind of sharp. I wouldn't mind that. But yeah, so they showed those. Helldivers 2, they did a little gameplay demo of that. And it's a third person kind of cooperative. They got some procedurally generated levels, I think is how it works. But you're fighting these like big insect monsters and whatever. And I don't know if it's going to be a game that you're really going to be able to solo. I think they're really focusing on co-op. I mean, it does look interesting, but again, I either don't have friends that can play co-op, or the schedules don't work out right, or like I said, sometimes I feel like in a team-based game, I'm kind of a burden. Like, oh, it takes me longer to see things or to go through my equipment menu and stuff like that. So I would potentially be interested if you were able to solo it reasonably well. But it looked all right. Spider-Man 2, they talked about the open world stuff. You're going to be able to switch on the fly between Miles Morales and Peter Parker. So you get two Spider-Man for the price of one. And you get more. You get Queens, Manhattan, and then the Bronx. So they're basically expanding the city even more. But they just did a few minutes on that game, and we already know that game is going to be pretty cool. Based on what they did for Miles Morales, I'm very curious to see what additional accessibility features Spider-Man 2 will have, and hopefully we'll find out next month. Tales of Arise, I think there's like some DLC. It was in a weird font, so I didn't get to read it because it went too quickly. That's a game I was going to try on my old PC, but it just wouldn't run it. So I have not had a time to even try Tales of Arise, the original game. And I'm not going to have time to try it probably at least until next year because, again, there's so much stuff coming out the rest of this year. It makes your head spin. But I've always kind of liked the Tales games because they're JRPGs, but they're not menu based. I mean, yeah, you have to do your equipment and your items and that, but the battle system is real time, which is much more what I appreciate. What I prefer that. And then there was some other, I think it was a JRPG. I'm not exactly sure what was going on, but the title on that one went by so fast, I had no idea what that was. Foam Stars, I'm genuinely curious because I guess people played it at some of the summer events earlier this year and came away from it like really impressed. They thought it was a lot of fun. It's kind of got this Splatoon vibe, and which I played a fair bit of the original Splatoon. I got Splatoon 2, but didn't end up playing it all that much. But especially, I like what is it called? The original mode that Splatoon had, the Turf Wars, where it wasn't really about shooting the enemy, but it was about covering as much of the terrain in your color ink um, as you could. And if Foam Stars has something like that, where that's kind of the goal, I could kind of see having fun with that. So yeah, I'm curious to see what the game modes and any sort of accessibility that they might have for it. They're going to have an open beta later this month, apparently, so we shall see. And they wrapped up with Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, which is coming out next year. I haven't even had a chance to check out the first game. Again, I know that one, the remake, has I think you can play it more turn-based if you want to, but you can largely play it um, kind of as more of an action RPG, which again I wouldn't mind getting into, but again so many games, but on top of that, I just don't have time for RPGs. I mean, hell, I would love to play Starfield a little bit more, but part of me is like I'm not getting into that game as much as I wanted to, and again the time commitment. I don't know when I'm going to be able to sit down and even try to fight my way through that. Um, so yeah, Final Fantasy. I know a lot of people are excited for that. Whew. That is the events of the last 3, 4 days this week. Apple, Nintendo, Sony. We've got some Google, Oculus, Microsoft stuff later this month or next month. We've got Realms Deep later this month. We've got GA-Conf next month. Good Lord. Um, the fun just doesn't stop. I mean, it's great, but damn, son. Um, but yeah, I mean, I think that's really what I wanted to cover for today's video. Whew, a lot of stuff. Stay tuned to the channel because there's going to be videos galore. Hopefully I can get the crew thing figured out where I can actually cover that again, or cover that for you guys. See what accessibility is there, but stay tuned because we're going to have another indie game video coming soon. We're going to have hopefully Mortal Kombat 1. I will try to get that going as soon as I can for you guys because I am, trust me, I am just as curious as you are, and I really, really want to play it. I really want to play it. So we're going to wrap it up here. Not sure how much I'm going to get to tonight because I got to watch my Vikings play tonight. Hopefully they do better than they did in week 1 because they needed to hold on to the ball more. Let's just put it that way. I don't want to go on that whole rant, but yeah, got to be checking that out. So anyway, we'll wrap it up here. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Stay tuned because there's probably going to be a fair bit of bonus content coming up in the fairly near future. Follow me on Twitter at BGFH79, twitch.tv/illegally cited, illegally-cited.com, and right here on YouTube. Until next time, I will chat with everybody again later.